Hello friends, my name is Linda Dolke. I'm a demonstrator with Stampin Up in Australia and welcome to the Global Stampin Video Hop this month. We are making Christmas projects and here is mine, this little cute sort of fun little bag that I've made with some Christmas goodies inside. Was a lot of fun to make and I hope that you'll really enjoy it. Don't forget to click the more button below this video to see the description and get to the link of the next person in the hop. So I hope you'll enjoy this today and let's get started. So here we go with this cute little project. It is a little gift bag or box. It's kind of a cross between a box and a bag really, isn't it? And I've added some, well, you can have any kinds of sweets or lollies that you want to put inside. I have used Jaffas. Jaffas can also, I've seen these also called reindeer noses. So that's a really cool thing. They come in a little bag like this. You can see mine is open because I've been kind of snacking on them while I've been creating. So that's a bit naughty, I know, but I think I have enough left to do a second one of these, which is what I'm going to show you today. Okay, very simple little box to make. Let's put that one aside and start with a full sheet of A4 cardstock, and I'm going to be cutting this to the right size. So if I'm going to cut it to 28 centimeters long. Okay, so it's a little shorter than the full length. And interestingly, 28 centimeters long is also, for those of you in the US or using inches, maybe in Canada, it's the 28 centimeters is 11 inches long. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how to work with that. And then I'm going to make this 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches across. Okay, so that is the size that we're going to be working with to get our bag. And it's all in one piece once you have this cut. Now, I'm going to be scoring this, so I'm going to be using my scoring blade. If you have a great trimmer, a good trimmer should have a scoring blade and a cutting blade. The one that we use here from Stampin' Up, this is actually probably my favorite trimmer they've ever had. I really like this one. If you don't have a trimmer with a scoring blade, you could use a scoring tool, such as the Simply Scored tool, or another one. There is quite a few out there on the market. The one that we have here at Stampin' Up is called Simply Scored, but if you have a trimmer, you can do it with the trimmer. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Now I'm using Crumb Cake, but you can use any color that suits your color scheme, what you want to go with. I'm going to start by putting it on the long side. So the long side is here at the top, and we're going to start scoring, and we're going to score it at 15 centimeters. So I'm going to have this in centimeters now, and also 13 centimeters. And this is basically to form the base. This little piece here is going to be the base of our little bag box. Okay, then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to score at 2 centimeters. So let's put that in so it's nice and straight. 2 centimeters. Make sure that you got your cutting blade out of the way, and also at 12. All right, so, or if you're paying attention, that's 2 centimeters from each end. All right, so there we go, and that's what it looks like. So you've got 2 score lines this way and 2 score lines at the ends, 2 centimeters in from the ends on either side. Okay, and that's the basis of our little thing. Don't have your trimmer too far away, because the next thing we're going to do is make the tabs at the side. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go back to the long side, and the reason I didn't do these at the start is I want you to think of these edges that we've already cut as the edges of the box, but these little bits we're going to work on now are the tabs. Okay, so we're going to score at 11. Okay, and this time I'm only going to be going from the edge of the box to where that first score line is. Okay, so I'm going to go, and there's like a mark on the top of your, and you just want that center piece just to go up as far as the score line, and then same at the other end, push down and score. So now we should have, I hope you can see this, a score mark that goes from the end to that first score line it crosses, and this one from the end to the first score line it crosses. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So this one that we just made was at the 11 mark, and now we're going to go pull out your arm again, and we're going to go to the 17 mark, and this is going to go same thing on this side, down as far as that score line, and then down as far as this score line here. So now what we have, I hope this is clear. Move that out of the way for a moment. Okay, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 score lines here and 4 score lines here. Okay, but what's important about that is that's going to form the tabs that are at the side of our box. Okay, so that's these bits here down the bottom. Okay, and this is going to give, by having 3 of them here, it's going to give our box a bit of stability. So I made another version of this a week or so ago and put it up on my social media channels, but the one I've done today is a little bit stronger. The other one was a little bit flimsy for my liking, so I've actually made it a stronger box by having the 3 tabs here. So the next thing we need to do is we need to cut off the corner here as shown by the score lines that we've made. So there's 4 of those corners that we need to cut off. So let me just, I'll write it here so you can see. We're going to cut off that one. We're going to cut off this one. We're going to cut off this one. And we're going to cut off this one. Now, when it comes to cutting off, you can use your trimmer, which will give you the straightest line, or you can just use a pair of scissors if you feel more comfortable doing that. So let me show you. If I was to cut off that one with a pair of scissors, I would cut along this little score line right here, right along the line, as far as that other score line, and then I would cut along this long edge. Now the only thing is, if you're a bit shaky with your cutting, you could end up with an edge you're not particularly happy with, in which case I would recommend using the trimmer. Okay, so I'm just doing it with the scissors to show you, but even I'm a pretty straight cutter and that's not completely straight. I can see it's not completely straight. Okay, so instead what I'm going to use is my trimmer. But if you're not comfortable using your trimmer, or you don't like your chances of using the trimmer properly to only cut up to a certain point, you might be better off with scissors. Totally up to you though, your choice. All right, so this time we're going to bring up our cutting blade, and the line that's here in the middle of my cutting blade, I'm going to put that right on that score line, and I'm going to cut to the top. Okay, you can see that there. And then I'm going to use that score line once again, put it right there in the cutting trough, and I'm going to cut that to the end. All right, so I've now cut off that entire point. So this one is much straighter than this one because this one was done by scissors, but totally up to you. You can choose either, both will work. All right, so this one and this one goes, I'll get my blade right there in the middle of that little score line I can see on the outside, and then this one, and I'm going to cut that up. Same again with the one that we're cutting off on each corner. And this one down. So I hope that makes sense. So I've got that cutting, the score line right there in my cutting troughs to keep it lined up. And I've done all 4. Look at that. Wasn't so bad. All right. Now I am going to, you could use a blade here again, but I think this bit doesn't matter as much, and it's just as easy, I'm going to neaten that up, to cut along these edges, these little score lines here. I'm going to cut up to that cross one again, and I'm going to do that on both of these smaller tabs. So now I have 1, 2, 3 tabs there. Can you see that? Okay, the same on the other side. So if you follow this along step by step, it's actually pretty easy. And we're pretty much there with the basic construction. All right, so let's fold on the score lines just to give us, and they're all going to go in the same way. So the 3 tabs, the other end. And I would suggest, if you really want to make it sit really flat and really square, then you're going to want to use a bone folder to do that. Mine seems to have run away right at this particular moment in time, but yeah, certainly by all means use a bone folder, get the best creases of all. Okay, so now what I'm ready to do is to start decorating it and making it look a bit special. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put my 2 ends here at the top together. Okay, and I'm going to be running it through my cut and emboss machine to create the scalloped edge, but I want to run both ends together so that they're going to match up. Now, to do this, there's a couple of little tricks I can tell you. The first is to use a piece of washi tape. You don't have to have, if you don't have washi tape, you can use Post-it notes, but I find washi tape is good because it has low stick. Sticky tape will be too sticky and you could end up ripping off the surface of your cardstock. You don't want to do that. So I'm just going to get a couple of little bits of washi tape. I'm going to match up my ends so that they're exactly the same, and I'm going to pop my washi tape over the top so that those are together. Okay, and same on the other side. All right, so now my two ends are together and they're stuck there like that. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to put my scalloped edge over. This is from the Scalloped Contours dies, but you could use any scallopy or fancy edge that you want to use. I do really like the little scalloped edge, and I have, because this is now, this piece from here to here is 10 centimeters across, and that is almost exactly the right measurement to go from the bottom of this scallop here and match it up so that it ends with the bottom of the scallop on the other side. So that's almost exactly right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bit of washi tape over that to hold it in place and go through the other side. The other thing is, because washi tape is nice and thin, you'll have no troubles cutting through it when you use your cut and emboss machine. So I've got my scallop piece held in place and I've got my two edges held together. Okay, that's exactly what I want. And I want the top of the scallop ever so slightly below the top of the bag or the box, okay, because that way I'm getting the maximum amount. You know, I don't want to move it down too far, so I'm going to shorten my box too much. Okay, so I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine. Let me just bring that in. Okay, so I want to show you how I'm going to roll this through. Because this is held together, I can position it so it's right in the middle of my platform, so that, you know, because otherwise you don't want one end of the scallop to go over the edge. So it's positioned right in the middle. I'm going to put my top on and I'm going to roll it through, but only until I hear it cut. You'll hear the noise it makes. All right, don't worry about that. That's perfectly normal with a die that goes across. Okay, and bring it back again, because I don't want to put it all the way through, because I don't want to flatten down my corner, my base. So let me pull that out. And now you'll see that this has gone straight through, and I can actually take these scallopy bits off. So actually what I might do is take off this first and gently peel the washi tape off gently, so you're making sure you're not taking off the surface of your cardstock, but it should come fairly easily. That's the good thing about washi tape. It doesn't take the surface off your cardstock unless you rip it off really fast. Just go gentle with it. Okay, and I'm just going to pull those bits off. Okay, and so now we have a lovely edge at the top of our box that is the same back and front, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, all right, so it kind of crimps it together and you can pull it apart, but those two pieces are going to work together. So now I'm going to open this up. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a window in the front, and for this I've also used one of the rectangles from the Scalloped Contours dies. This is the third largest one, and you'll want to open this up for this and position it where you want it. You can use washi tape again if you want to hold it, or you can just put it on and carefully roll it through. And I'm just going to, now I've taken the big shot, sorry, the cut and emboss machine off the desk, so I'll quickly run that through. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Now we've run that through. Pull that off. This piece can be used for another project, but now I have a window in the front. Okay, and that's exactly what you want. You want a window there in the front. Okay, move out the bits and pieces. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I have a piece of acetate that I have measured to be 9.5 by 11.5 centimeters. Okay, and I'm going to be putting that in here to create a window. Okay, now you can put any adhesive you like around here, but the easiest way to do this for this situation is to use tear and tape. So I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape here at the bottom. And another little piece. Because it's nice and fine, you can use seal if you like, but seal's got a little bit of a wider, it's a bit wider than the tape, so you'll have to be a bit more careful with that. We just want to have this so that it goes all the way around the outside of my scalloped circle, rectangle, and I'm going to take off the backs. So let's grab that. And now this, just center it. And no one's going to see the inside when the box is closed, when the box is put together anyway, so it doesn't matter if you can see the adhesive through that, but actually that looks pretty good. Now the other thing that piece of acetate does is it makes your box or your bag stronger, okay? So it actually is a really great strengthening thing rather than just leaving it open. And we can put more things in there, so it's got a number of reasons. Now this piece here, I'm using this piece from the Fitting Florets paper, but you can use any paper that coordinates with your colours. This is exactly the same size as the acetate piece. So when the acetate piece is over, when your window is up, you want to be able to see this. If it's got a particular direction, like in this one, I had my trees there at the back, so I wanted to make sure they were facing the right way. So do test it out before you stick it in, just to make sure that it's looking through your windows the way you want it to. So I'm going to use whatever, you can use whatever adhesive you like to stick this in. So, and I'm going to pop that right there inside that piece, and it's going to fit beautifully right there at the back, okay, just like this. All right, you can see it's coming together now. Now before I start putting my bag with my lollies and things in it, I actually want to start putting the bottom together. Now you've got your 3 tags here. The middle tab is going to go up, and then this one here at the back where the paper, the DSP is going to get stuck to that. Okay, so this is going to go upright. So what I suggest you do is that you use whatever adhesive you're going to use, whether it be tape, seal, Tombow, whatever. If it's Tombow, you're going to have to hold it in place a bit longer because it's going to take a little bit longer to dry. And we're going to put that up, and we're going to put that back piece so it starts to form the shape. Can you see that? We're not going to do the front one yet. Don't do that one yet. Okay, once again, I'm going to put this one out here. I'm going to put my glue on it. You need a fairly strong glue. You want something that's really going to work. I've got cats playing underneath my, when I say playing, they're fighting underneath my chair, so that's a little distracting at this moment. All right, so you can now see that that back is sitting up, and that's exactly what we want it to do. Now we're going to think about this. I'm using our clear envelopes. These are available in our annual catalogue, but you could use any cello bags that are a similar size. They are slightly wider than the base of my box, and that's okay. You can have something that fits just inside if you like. If it's slightly wider, it's not going to matter, okay? But I need it to be, these envelopes are 14.6 long, and they've got this little bit of sticky stuff to put, you know, a card or whatever you might want to put in there. They're great, but I only want mine to be 12 centimeters long to fit inside my little box. So I'm going to cut that whole top bit off. All right, so just put it in your trimmer. We're cutting off the top there with the adhesive. Discard that, okay? And now this is 11.5 centimeters long by, sorry, wide by 12 long. Okay, that's exactly right. That's how I want it. So this is going to end up inside here, and you can see when it goes all the way to the bottom, okay, it just comes to the top of your DSP, just here. Okay, so first of all, we're going to put whatever you're putting inside. I'm going to put that in first. All right, so you want to about a third fill it. You don't want to overfill it because it's going to completely change your box won't sit nicely. So how many have I got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Oh, I ate more than I thought I had. 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, I got enough. That's all right. So for Jaffas, which are a similar size to Maltesers or Whoppers if you live in the US, these are, you'll need about 20 of them ish, roughly. 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 right there, and I still have a couple left in the packet. Or do I? Oh, you know what? I used up every last one. So about 20-ish. All right, now I'm just going to put them in the bag, and I'm kind of making a triangle. You could even think of it almost as a Christmas tree out of it, like this. Okay, so they're not all the way to the sides, and they're not up here at the top. Okay, so they're going to go here into my box, my bag, and I'm just sort of going to squash them down in between those two tabs that I've already put in place. And then at the top, okay, I want this to come kind of just to the edge here. So I'm moving it over a little bit. This one's going to come forward this way, and then that one's going to go forward that way. Okay, so I want them just to the edge. And then holding that in place, I'm going to pull this piece up. All right, so that's piece. Now those two pieces are holding that bag in between, and you're going to get whatever type of hole punch you use. I still have a crocodile from many years gone by. I love my crocodile. I will never get rid of it. And I'm going to put this kind of just, I'm going to have it just a little bit up from where the window corner is, and making sure that those two tops are the same. And we're going to go right through all of it, which is great. Goes through the bag as well. And while we've got the hole open there where we just cut it, I'm going to grab my ribbon. I'm using this is called the Evening Evergreen Windowpane check ribbon, and it's in our annual catalogue. Okay, and I'm going to put that through from the front to the back, just like that. Then I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. I'm going to put this piece, I'm going to hold that right there so it lines up with the edge, put the other piece over the top, and then I'm going to go through all of those layers in the same spot as I did on the other side. I'm doing it by eye, but I know it's just up from that little window corner. So it's going through all of it like that, and I'm going to push the end again from the back to the front this time. All right, so it's gone from the front to the back to the front. Okay, and we've got some coming out here. How much of this? It's a good ½ meter or so, because you want to make sure you're leaving enough to tie a nice little bow with. So I'm just going to cut that off. Just make sure you've got enough to tie a bow. Okay, just like that. Now while we're here, I'm going to just make sure you don't tip it up at this point and dump out all your lollies. All right, I'm going to put some adhesive right here. If you're using tape, then you just pop that on, and this front tab is going to go around towards the back. All right, same on the other side. Hold it up so the lollies can't fall out, and I'm putting this on that centerpiece, and once again I'm running it from the front to the back. All right, so now it's standing up really nicely. Okay, and I've got my ends here to tie my bow. Now you could just tie a bow and that would be beautiful just like that, but in my case what I wanted to do, I did do a couple of extra things. I put a little tag on it. Okay, up to you. My tag is from the Tailored Tag dies. This is the smallest one in the Tailored Tag dies, but you could also use one from the Cracker Treat, the Cracker Box dies. There's a whole bunch of ones that have little tags and things like that in them, but this is a nice little tag to make. All right, so I'm going to use in Evening Evergreen, because it'll match my ribbon, Evening Evergreen ink. I've got the For You, which is from the Designer Treat. See that one right there, For You? But you could have whatever you like. You could have Merry Christmas, you could have anything you like, because this is a Christmas treat, but you could have it all year round and do it for other occasions too. And we're going to do For You. I'm going to put it there on the end of my tag, okay? And then on the top of my tag, I've got this lovely little This is from the Holly Berry dies, which are one of my favorites. I love the Holly Berry dies. And it's going to go, you can put a bit of adhesive on the back of that, or you can just add a glue dot if you prefer. Glue dots are great because they make everything easy to stick. So let's pull out a glue dot, and I'm going to pop that right there behind that thicker part of the holly, and I'm going to position that on top of my tag here, just like this, so it goes off the end. And then I'm going to do, I've got a second little glittery piece of holly, also from the Holly Berry dies, and I'm going to put my tag on the front of this one because I want to put this one poking out from behind. So let's do that. I'm going to have it so we have one in front and one behind, just like that. Now I'm going to tie this bow into just right over left kind of thing, and my bow, I want to have it, you can have it in the middle, or I'm going to have mine on one side. But before I start tying my bow, I'm going to pop my tag on. So just push my, so I've like tied it very simply and straightforward, and then I'm going to actually tie the bow. So let's pop that right on there, and then we tie our bow. So that your tag is going to pop out the bottom of the bow there. And then just adjust your loops to be as big as you'd like them to be. This ribbon is quite nice to tie, but you can use any ribbon you like. You don't have to use this one. And then we trim off. I actually was a little bit overly generous with my ribbon, but you can just tie it off wherever you would like it to tie. Just like that. And there we go. We have a beautiful little Christmas gift. Not hard to make. It's pretty simple. I really hope you enjoy this. It was a lot of fun for me to work out the measurements and the logistics of how this would go together, but I love that it's all actually one piece, and you can put inside whatever you would like. And by having a bit of DSP at the back, whoops, there goes a cat, I'm sorry. By having this DSP here at the back, you can give it any theme you like. In this case, it's a Christmas theme, but you could make it a theme for other times of year as well. Thanks for being part of our video blog hop today. I hope that you'll click on, if you go down and look at the description below, you click the more button, and then you can see in there we've put the links to all the other people who've contributed to this month's blog hop, and you'll see the next person. So thank you so much, and see you again next month. Bye-bye.